day, IABC Asia Pacific members, friends and viewers. I'm delighted and humbled to be here again today to recognise our IABC Asia Pacific Communicator of the Year. This is our third year in the row of the awards, and it was our hardest decision yet to make the decision on who was going to be our winner due to the really high standard of candidates that we had. My name's James Howe, I'm the Asia Pacific Chair, and today I'm excited for you to meet one of our esteemed awardees. This year's Executive Leader Awardee has been quite heavily awarded throughout his career and in his home country. And if I may say so, IABC knows a gem when it sees one, because back in 2006, this gentleman was recognised through his local chapter in IABC Philippines for a Communication Excellence in Organisation for CEO Award. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the recipient of the IABC Asia Pacific Communicator of the Year Executive Leader Award, Carlos Charlie Agatep. Congratulations on your Communicator of the Year Award, Charlie. How does it feel to be the first winner from your country?
Well, to be recognized by IABC Asia Pacific as the Communicator of the Year 2022 and to be declared as the first winner from the Philippines is fantastic. I would consider this award as the triumph of honest and truthful information over fake news. I am truly humbled, James, and at the same time, I'm blessed. Thank you very much for giving me this award.
My pleasure, Charlie. Absolute honour to be spending this time with you. And unfortunately, due to COVID, I would have loved to have been able to present it to you in person and have this sit-down conversation. But alas, we'll have to make do with technology for now. In your career, you've obviously had a long and illustrious career. What do you consider the most important lesson that you've learnt throughout your career and advice that you give to someone who is starting out in their career today?
Well, James, on the subject of communication, the most important lesson that I have learned is that communication, like the other disciplines, engineering, law, medicine, architecture, communication plays a very important role in our lives. As communicators, we are held responsible because we influence heavily the channels of communication. Therefore, you should be held responsible and accountable for the behavior and attitudes of the publics that we're trying to reach. The task of communication is to spread the truth, to provide citizens with information they need in order to be free and self-governing. But the tragedy of communication today is the unregulated assault of disinformation and fake news in social media. And this is indeed threatening to rip apart the very fabric of our society.
I agree, and I think if you look over, especially in these last 2.5 years, as the pandemic and COVID has come to what it is, I think that that risk of fake news and misinformation, it's not just risky. It's got real health consequences and other social ramifications for it. In terms of the broader pandemic, how have you seen communication change compared to 2.5 years ago before the pandemic started up to now? Has there been anything that's you've noticed evolve as people have adapted throughout COVID?
Well, I think everybody is aware that the pandemic has radically changed the way we communicate, James, and whatever it is now, because we have been required to wear face masks and to distance ourselves from each other, we had to resort and find out substitutes for the non-verbal communication cues, such as the usual greetings, the tone of our voice, the traditional hugs, and other familiar greetings. So what happens here is that non-verbal and verbal communication have been both compromised.
I think you're right there. It has changed many aspects. And I hadn't even thought of the non-verbal impact of that mask would have on communication. I think in many ways, whilst the pandemic has been instrumental in the last few years, it's probably just one of many crises that you've seen throughout your career or managed for your clients and assisted them in overcoming challenges. What's the most critical advice that you can give to an organisation or a person as they're undergoing or experiencing a crisis?
Crisis is a bad thing that happens to a good company. And when this happens, it destroys the confidence of the customer, and it is very likely that you will undergo financial crisis. I advise our client, James, that instead of allowing a crisis to happen, we should prevent a crisis from happening. And to do this, I advise our clients to invest in an infrastructure of goodwill, which I call, or in other words, I advise the client to invest in the conduct of corporate social responsibility projects that will benefit the community and the nation. And in addition to that, I advise the client to participate in media training courses. I believe these activities will help prevent a crisis from happening. But if a crisis happens anyway, because nobody is immune to crisis, then I advise the client to be very careful in the initial actions following a crisis, because whatever you tell the media cannot be withdrawn. I issue a holding statement, I buy time, and then I talk to the client and I prepare him to answer questions favorably. The problem with many companies is that they don't believe that a corporate image is necessary until a crisis actually happens. And also, what I noticed is that these clients, they don't know how to deal with the media. They think that the media is their adversary, when actually we are not. The media is there to report what they see, and therefore we should tell the media what we know and what we don't know. I have many stories about crisis, James, but I don't think we have the time. But if we have the time, I can tell you a lot of stories about crisis.
No, look, I think that's wonderful, Talia. I work in the many of my jobs have been in the healthcare sector, and one of the key sayings that I learned at a young age and still applies as well now is prevention is the best medicine. And I think what you're saying there is that absolutely holds up true in the communication field as well. You want to be as prepared and try and prevent a crisis as much as you can, but if it does happen, then be ready for it as well and engage. So I think that's really strong, sound advice. One thing I would ask, over your career to achieve what you've achieved and be recognised, not only for this award but for everything else throughout your career as well. What's your key to success?
I have a very high self-esteem, James, and I am full of self-confidence. But in addition to that, whenever I embark on a project, I plan ahead, and I do what we call our SWOT analysis. I evaluate my strengths, my weakness, my opportunities, and the threats. And I don't just go ahead and do the project, but once I start doing my project, I do it with the best efforts that I can. I always give it my best shot. And like I said, I am full of self-confidence. But the most important thing, James, is that I never give up.
I like that. I run marathons as a hobby, and I think one of the important things of being a distance runner is very much that, of never giving up. So I connect with you very much on a personal level there. I've really appreciated our conversation today. I think there is so much that we can learn from that and from what you've said in terms of never giving up. I think that is absolutely something that every communicator should take to heart, and just know that no matter what the situation is, you can persist through. It's really important to have that staying power. As I said earlier, I would have loved to have had this conversation with you in person, but please accept our warmest congratulations on being our winner of the IABC Asia Pacific Communicator of the Year Executive Leader Award. I'm really delighted to be able to have a recipient from the Philippines that recognises that diversity across our Asia Pacific region. For those interested in learning more about IABC, or if you wish to sign up or join us, please feel free to contact your local IABC chapter or look for more details on iabcapac.com, where it lists all of our chapters or other ways that we can join up. These awards wouldn't happen without the help of a lot of people. Our nominating committee who worked through the judging, all of our other applicants who applied. As I said, it was a really high standard of applicant for these awards this year, but also for our supporters and sponsors. So I'd really like to acknowledge Isentia and Telemedia for supporting this year's awards. Until next year, the IABC Communicator of the Year Awards. This has been Chairman for Asia Pacific, James Howe. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. Congratulations once again to Charlie, and please all stay safe, healthy, and we'll do it again next year.